Right everybody, how goes it? Well, we've just finished the first round of the Supra Cup race. So the onboard video is live now on the channel if you wanted to watch that, but this is going to be the TV edition. Very dodgy race. I wasn't looking forward to it at all, as you'll find out from the onboard video if you go and watch that. I've done a fair bit of practice during today to get used to the car, because it's a road car with road tyres, so the handling was totally different and the braking points were totally different to what you'd normally do in a Group 3 or a Group 4 car on this track. So qualifying went okay. I qualified 5th on the grid, but I just wasn't looking forward to turn 1 at all, because from what I'd learned in practice, I just knew that turn 1 was going to be carnage. So it was a 10-lap race, and there was only one chance to do this, other than the other FIA races that we do. There's usually five chances, 5 different races for you to have a go at, whereas this was just a one-shot race. So we're kind of a suck it and see kind of race. To be honest, I think it was anybody's race really. It was 50-50 due to mainly the way the cars handle. And getting the car off the line was a bit of a struggle as well. I actually started it in 2nd gear and then went immediately to 3rd, just to limit the wheel spin. And by the lack of wheel spin on most of those cars, I reckon most of them started with traction control on. So as you can see, the cars are just all over. It's just a one massive car, and of course I got punted from the side, from the back, with the pinball physics, and there was just no way through at all. So I went from 5th to last in the space of one corner. I got pushed out to the side, and there was just no way through. There was nowhere to go. So at this point I was regretting doing the race at all, but the best thing I could do was just try and work my way up, and as you can see there's quite a lot of penalties there already, so that's what I was relying on, people being sent to Narnia and also getting penalties. So I was just trying to keep it clean, keep my head down, stay out of trouble in the braking zones, and hopefully work my way up the field. As you can see, even towards the end of lap 1, it's just a massive cars all over the road. I've never been in a race like this. the majority of that first lap there was nowhere to go. You couldn't go left because there was a car there, you couldn't go right because there was a car there, there was a car behind you, a car right in front of you, so you're kind of like boxed in. Even now on the main straight, there were quite a few cars serving penalties there, so I managed to get up a few positions. So even though that's spread us out a little bit, I was still a bit worried about this first corner again. Hard on the brakes there. But luckily we made it through okay. But yeah, I couldn't believe how close the racing was. So see, that's why I was relying on people making mistakes. I was hoping to keep it clean myself and move on up. But it was weird driving it as well. If you look at the on-board footage video, it felt really pedestrian. It felt like you were hardly moving at some times. And then you look down at the speed and you're actually doing like 60 or 70 mile an hour. Which was kind of off-putting really. So I got a tap there, even didn't look like much of a tap, but it was enough to send me wide and lose a position there. I noticed that the slipstream didn't have much of an effect either. You see, I was right up behind this guy, all of that straight, and not once was I able to get past him except at the very end when we were just about to go on the brakes. And when we pulled out of the slipstream, the car just seemed to slow down. I know they've altered the slipstream, but I don't know if it's this particular car that doesn't work well in a slipstream or not. The braking zones were the major concern really. In a group 3 car and group 4 car you usually brake in 150, 100 metres before the corner, whereas with this, where you'd normally brake at 100, you were literally braking at 200 metres. Of course it hasn't got racing brakes and it hasn't got racing tyres. Quite see what happened there, but I think I dropped a wheel. Which put me right back down the field again. Oh, actually, no, I remember that. I was coming around that corner and it just kicked out on me. I didn't drop a wheel, the back end just kicked out on me when I changed up into 4th gear. Yeah, it was a very bizarre accident, that one. I was quite dumbfounded by it. But as you can see, we're starting to spread out a bit now. So it was getting more difficult to catch and overtake people. This TV camera makes it doesn't do it justice of how difficult the car was to drive. I'm getting a lot of oversteer and sometimes understeer in the braking zones. This next corner we're coming up to now is a heavy braking zone, and it's so easy to outbrake yourself even when you brake on your mark. If you don't come down the gears at the right time, you're just going straight on. Hadn't done actually any race practice. I'd only done time trials, so I wasn't sure whether we were going to need a pit stop. I knew fuel would be alright. It was just the tyres I was slightly concerned about, especially with the amount of sliding about the car did. We must have lost quite a bit of tyre wear doing that. But the strategy wasn't to not pit unless I started slowing down dramatically. See, that looked quite controlled on that corner, but I can tell you now, inside that cockpit I was fighting with that wheel. Left, right, left, right. So I was a bit gutted there, you know. He pulled right across me as he was joining the track again, which made me have to brake. I was hoping, I could tell those 4 cars that are in front of me, it was going to end in tears for somebody, and it did for that Mr. Marco and the car in front of him. But yeah, when he rejoined the track, he pulled right in front of me, which meant I had to anchor up, which I lost all my momentum and had to start again. But I noticed there was like packs of cars dotted about all over the track. So there was chances to make up positions for sure. See, a couple of guys have pitted there. I think this was lap 6. And my tyres felt good, and I was still doing fast sectors. So I certainly had no intention of going into the pits for new tyres. They were looking fairly worn, but still doing fast sectors. There's no need to pit. I was gutted there. I just went an inch or so, just a midges over the apex, which was enough to give me a 5/10 penalty. But luckily the car behind was, I think he was about 2 seconds away, so I was hoping that when I served the penalty he wouldn't get in front of me. So it's very hard not to outbrake yourself into that corner. about to serve that penalty. The penalty zone's on the straight at the start. So there we go, I've served the penalty, but I don't think the car behind will have enough guts to pass me. So a couple more people pitting there, so that moved me up another couple of positions. See, the fact that Mr. Tifa couldn't catch me then when he was only, I think it was about 1.6 seconds when we both exited that corner onto the straight before I served my penalty. So that penalty was 500ths of a second, and by the end of the straight he hadn't caught me. He was still probably 3 or 4 hundredths behind. So that just like tells me that they have fixed the slipstream to a bit more realistic. I think the car behind there was trying just a little bit too hard to get past me, but there was a couple of times where I outbraked myself into this corner, and that was one of them. So he managed to move himself up. One thing I did like about the car is it sounds good. With a nice exhaust note on it. But that's about all I liked about the car. With a bit more practice for the next race, might not be too bad. You've just got to get used to it. It's just difficult, the transaction from Group 3 and Group 4, which is what you mainly drive in this game. And making that transition to a road car and being expected to race in it. So this will be another good test. The guy in front is about to serve a penalty, see if I can get anywhere near him. Alright, John, mate, how's it going? So that car in front will be serving its penalty now, so let's see if I get anywhere near him. Certainly catching him, but nowhere near in a position to really overtake. Caught him just as we were getting into the braking zone. And it just wasn't worth trying to outbrake him into the corner, because I'd have just gone straight on. but I managed to get up the inside of him there. I think he was struggling on his tyres a bit, to be honest, which is probably why he got the penalty in the first place. A little bit too deep there, but I made the corner just. Well, I'm not sure what lap this is. There must only be 1 or 2 to go. I was hoping to get into the top 10 so as I didn't lose too much DR. And 9th and 10th place were not too far down the track. So I was hoping they were going to start fighting, which would aid me to catch them up a bit quicker and possibly get past them. Someone going off to Narnia there. They do sound good. You've got to give them that. Handling, not so good. Braking, not so good. Acceleration was alright. But without handling and braking, it's a different beast to tame, for sure. I guess that's Mount Fuji in the background there. I've never really noticed that. So that's it. Didn't manage to catch him on the last lap there, so P11. So first race, I was sort of happy with that. A bit gutted really that you know, I qualified 5th. And ended up 11th, but I knew there was going to be carnage in the first corner and certainly for the first lap, so I think we came out of it fairly unscathed really. So yeah, next race will be in a month's time for the Supras. The next FIA race will be on Wednesday. I'm not sure what tracks it is, and I think they're doing nations and manufacturers in the same day, so that's going to be a busy night, but I will be streaming the races live on board footage, and I'll probably do this TV edition later on in the night, see what time I get finished. I think the races start at something like 4 o'clock or something and go right up through to something like 11 o'clock at night, and that's just so that you can get them all in. I think they do overlap though, so you've got to pick and choose your times, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. I shall see you all in the next one. I'll be seeing you.